Okay, this is Algebra 1, Lesson 32. In this lesson, we're going to talk about word problems. Um, so in the past, we've actually solved equations. Now we're going to use word problems and make them into equations to solve for them. And when we're reading them, we have to look at what they're telling us. We'll look for the phrases and look for the equal sign. So we're going to try to avoid using the x's and y's right now in writing these equations. We're going to try using variables who have a meaning. And then in this lesson, there's only one unknown number. We will use the letter n to represent the unknown number. So let's look at example 32.1. It says the sum of twice a number and 13 is 75. Is 75. Find the number. So first of all, you have to set this up. You have to kind of diagram or break down the problem. So the first thing, it says the sum. Sum means addition of two numbers. So we need a sum of two numbers. The first thing, it says the sum of twice a number. So what is 2 times a number? So the sum of twice a number and 13 is 75. So now this is my equation. Now can I solve it? Yes, I subtract 13 from both sides. At 2n equals 62. I divide by 2, and n is simply 31. Okay? That's the number. Pretty simple. Remember, the word is means equal to, thus the sum of twice the number. So we want to go back and check it. So we're going to put this number back into our equation. Remember, this is our equation. So 2 times 31 plus 13 has to equal to 75. So that's 62 plus 13. And if I add it together, I get 75. So my answer is correct. And you always want to check your work to see if you solved it correctly. Okay? So let's look at example 32.2. And it says, find a number such that 13 less than twice the number is 137. So find a number such that 13 less than twice the number. So is, we know is equal 137. So the first part's a little tricky, like, find a number such that 13 less, so it's 13 less. You're going to minus 13, twice the number. Remember, twice the number is 2 times. And there's your equation. So then we add 13 to both sides. Get 2n equals 150. Divide by 2. N equals 75. I'm doing these quickly because they're just simple algebraic equations. And we can go over them more in depth in class if you're having problems seeing what I did. You can follow along in the book or relook at the book. Okay, so that's 32.2. So not the hard part, but on these equations, once you get the problem set up, then it's easy just solving. But you got to make sure you solve it correctly, or set it up correctly. And you got to know what product means. You got to know what sum is and difference. So let's look at the next one. Find a number such that if 5 times a number is decreased by 14, the result is twice the opposite number. So find a number that is 5 times a number. So 5 times a number. The number is decreased by 14. So they're going to decrease it by 14, comma. The result, the same thing as saying equal, is twice the opposite number. So 2 times, and what's the opposite of a number? Negative n. Yes? And we're going to put parentheses because we want that to say twice, which means 2 times. If I don't put that parentheses, then I've got 2 minus n, which is not right. So now I simply have to solve 5n minus 14 equals negative 2n, right? We multiply it out. Okay, I'm going to add 2n to both sides. I'm solving for n. I'm moving this over here, so I add its opposite, and I get 7n minus 14 equals 0, because I have nothing else left over here. I'm going to add 14 to both sides, and I'm going to get rid of my constant on the side of the coefficient. Then I get rid of my coefficient of the variable, and I get n equals 2. And then you put it back in, that's 10 minus 14 equals 2 times negative 2. That's negative 4 and negative 4, and it checks out. Okay? So let's do another one. So it's just a matter of, let's set these up correctly. But you got to read the problem first. Don't try and do it all at one time. Read it once, and then come back and break it down. It takes a few minutes. I can read it really fast, but I don't know what I'm doing until I sit and look at it slowly. So the next one is example 32.3, or 32.4. It says find a number which is decreased by 18 equals 5 times the number. So to find a number that is decreased by 18, so n minus 18 is my number, equals 5 times its opposite. So again, you put a negative in front of a number, it makes it its opposite. So you have n minus 18 equals negative 5n. So I'm going to minus n from both sides. Remember, this is implied coefficient of 1. This becomes 0, and this negative, don't forget, is married to that 18. So it's negative 18 equals negative 6n. Divide both sides by a negative 6. Whoops. Okay, so you have a negative divided by negative is a positive. This becomes just 1. And negative divided by negative is a positive, and that becomes 3. So n is 3, and then you would put it back in there to check it. Right, one more. Example 32.5. It says we get the same result if we multiply a number by 3, or if we multiply the number by 5 and then add 2. So they're saying we get the same result if, so these two things are going to be equal if we multiply a number by 3, or, that's going to be the other side, or if we multiply the number by 5 and then add 2. Find the number. So we're going to minus 5n, minus 5n. This gives you, remember, these are opposites, so you find the difference. Because you have a positive 3 and a negative 3n. So it's negative 2n equals 2. Divide by negative 2. N equals, remember, positive divided by negative is a negative. 1 is your answer. And you would put it in and check it. And that's all for this lesson. So you just got to be careful. Set it up what it says. When it says equal or result, or it's decreased by, or it increased by, or it's more than this. So that's the way you have to think of it. And we'll do more in class. Do your practice problems. And the code for this lesson is 500 on the top of homework 26. The number 500 on the top of 26.